Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We are focusing in and zooming in on a very important concept, and that comes with the understanding of what it means to have boundary violation in your life, and how this is a specific tool utilized by emotionally manipulative individuals such as a narcissist, personality disordered, or a psychopathic disordered person, even very much is perceived in the same light as a borderline personality. And that is someone who has caused a boundary violation of you and has given you a distorted sense of self in the relationship. And this distorted sense of self makes you feel as if you are less than, or you are underneath, or you are diminished or minimized by this person. So using their charm, using their bigger than life ego as a way to dominate, control, and overshadow you, it keeps you feeling like an underling. It keeps you feeling like underneath. And most people, in the beginning of their relationship, because of the idealization phase, they don't really realize that the boundary violation is taking place. The boundary violation can take the place in terms of being a distraction to you that you permit in your life. If you permit a distraction, such as someone who's incessantly texting you, emailing you, sending you pictures, this can be a distraction, and this can break you down. And this is really the beginning of gaslighting, when people tend to distract you with Facebook posts, with little quips and little splitting behaviors, talking about other people, and keeping you feeling paranoid or keeping you feeling hypervigilant, and splitting behavior, talking about you behind your back, or the smear campaign, where they're trying to insinuate that there's something inherently flawed about you, and so they get this energy rush from talking negatively about people. This is the splitting behavior, which oftentimes gives them immediate power, because if they can put people down, it automatically gives them power, or a perception of being basically, superior than, or better than, or superior to. And so it's very important for this type of individual to feel better than. So really that is part of the initial issue, and then they basically get you stuck in this position, or what we call being put into this position, basically is when they're able to violate your boundaries and then sort of insinuate that you are to do their dirty work. You are there to be their support staff. You might be carrying their baggage. You might be literally carrying their bags. You might be carrying their grocery bags. You might be carrying their music bags. You might be trying to hear a lot of sob stories from them about their previous relationships and how, they were violated, or this person did this, and then woe is me, and then they get you feeling sorry for them. And then it's this, sort of vulnerability, this heart that goes out to them, where then you tend to over-obligate yourself to them. And over-obligating can be, just allowing this distraction to occur. Feeding into the Facebook posts, feeding into the email, the texting, feeding into the Instagram, feeding into the Snapchat, and feeling like you have to keep up with their needs, and you're depleting yourself in the process. It gets you exhausted, then you can't think straight, and then you start making really bad decisions. So it becomes like this, boulder rolling down the hill sort of situation, where basically, you're emotionally in a cocktail that is kind of fear-based, and that yet you're, aroused by this person or wanting to be in a relationship. So it gets you into this really uncomfortable mind state, basically, where you're run by the hormones of stress and run by the hormones of attraction, and you end up getting yourself further in the hole. And this can also lead to what I find a lot of viewers feel is not only in this boundary violation, but kind of the coming out from this becomes then the isolation. I hear a lot of viewers say, well, I just isolate myself. That's how I'm dealing with it. Well, you can see basically you're craving for the knowledge of how to get a boundary intact for yourself so you can go out in the world and not feel violated. So you need to realize that oftentimes that this is the issue, is that you permitted a boundary violation and then you have a blurring of boundaries. Basically, you don't know where you stand and you're craving for that recognition of, these are my boundaries. This is who I am. This is who I am as a person. And that, basically, you are like, you don't know how to go about declaring your boundaries and defining yourself as an individual and having an identity that isn't blurred and enmeshed with them. And so then you go into, this testy behavior, and then the anger behavior, and then the blowing up behavior, and then the, sinking further into the valley. It becomes, a ripple effect. It becomes, an automatic catapulting down. And so then people tend to cope with it by isolating. And, when I hear that you're isolating yourself, I think it's because you're craving knowledge on how to empower yourself and get a clear vision of what you want, and then how to protect your vision moving forward. So to protect your vision moving forward, you have to know that you have a vision, you have to know what you want, and you have to know how to draw the line, how to say no, and have a clear understanding of what qualifications you have for a friend and what you will tolerate and what you won't tolerate. Because if you've tolerated negative treatment, it's because it's reinforced this negative opinion of yourself, and you're like, well, this is who I am. I am this piece of crap, or I am, worth getting, yelled at. And I've always, been yelled at or hit or emotionally hit or whatever. And so it's like reinforcing you in that role. So it's time to let go of that role and saying, okay, I can go out in the world and I can know what I want, and I can verbalize myself, and I don't have to be testy to people, but I can really enforce my boundaries by saying no, and by knowing energetically what I will participate in and not, and who I will engage in what behaviors and not. And, a lot of people have gotten into trouble, drinking too much, staying up too late, listening to, negative music. And not that you have to lead a Puritan lifestyle, but to say, what? It's like saying, this behaviors that these people are indulging in, this, negative talk and, this lifestyle, it's not for me. And I need to draw the line, and I need to know what I can tolerate and what I can, what my body wants and what is wrong for it, and to then make some changes. And you have to decide. You have to be able to draw the line and know where to say no, and now begin to say yes to certain things that are healthy for you. And so if you've been isolating and just getting stuck in the hole, ask yourself, well, what payoff do I have by keeping down and depressed? It's because I'm letting go of accountability and responsibility for myself. You have to be responsible and accountable for being able to modulate and adjust your emotions around people. You need to know how your boundaries are. You need to have those protective boundaries and then exercise them. Because if you don't, you're just going to sink further and further down, and it's going to be, you're going to be looking further and further up. So you need to go out and you need to engage in some new activities with some new people, even if it's alone on your own. Learn to go out, go on that recovery date, follow some, different instincts, go and learn, some, new groups that you can get involved in with meetup.com or some other, groups in the area. Look at a men's club, a women's club, something that you can become part of, an artist guild, some sort of forum. Maybe you're interested in politics. Find out your interests, begin to explore those, and begin to dwell in those questions in that unknown, so you can go and become a new part of yourself that isn't triggered and reacted by people who are taking advantage of you, but get around the types of people who won't be taking advantage of you, and have more of a strength about them that you can resonate with and look up to, and you can shed the narcissistic wounds that have been put in place by such toxic people. It's peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.